Morning, class 2. If you're watching this video, this means that you have completed your writing on your Where the Wild Things Are story and that you're ready to get on with your proofreading task. So your task for today is to reread and check that your story makes sense and that you've got accuracy in the content in your story. Okay, so we're going to be checking that we've followed our plan. We're going to be checking that we've that our story makes sense, and we're also going to be checking that we've used adventurous vocabulary and that we've used it correctly throughout our story. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is that when we write something, it's super important that other people can understand it. So mistakes make it super hard for other people to understand what we actually mean when we're writing. So, job number 1 is we need to look for any missing words in our text. I've written a little example text right here, and we're going to be using this to help us with our teaching today. So, where the wild things are. Once upon a time, in a beautiful house on a street, there lived a little boy, what's name it was Max, and he loved to be naughty and creating mischief. And one day he got up and he got out of his bed and he thought to himself, I'm going to put on my wolf suit and make mischief of one kind and another and another. So he did exactly that. I mean, it's a nice story, but it doesn't really make that much sense, does it? So we need to do some editing. So can we see any missing words in that text? Let's read it back through. Once upon a time, in a beautiful house on a street, there lived a little boy, what's name it was Max, and he loved to be naughty and creating mischief. Then one day he up. Well, I can see that there's a missing word right there. He got up, he woke up. Let's write he woke up. Woke up. Good. We fixed our missing word mistake there. Okay, now let's have a look at our next thing to fix. So we need to correct any mistakes with spelling that we've got in our text. Now there's one word that I can see and it's glaring out at me because it's one of our common exception words. Which word is it? Class 2, you better know this. It is beautiful. Beautiful is not spelt correctly there. So that is one thing I would expect you to be correcting is all of your common exception words. Let's look at our next thing on our list. Right, the next thing we need to correct are our grammatical mistakes. So these are generally tense mistakes, mistakes with our change in tense. So let's read this through and make this story make sense. Once upon a time, in a beautiful house on a street, there lived a little boy. Whose name? Let's change that to whose name was, let's get rid of that it, whose name was Max. And he loved to be naughty and creating. Well, creating is present tense. And we are writing this story in the past tense. Who loved to create mischief. One day he woke up and got out of his bed and he thought to himself, I'm going to put that is much better. Okay, let's look back at our checklist. Okay. Now the last thing we need to change is our punctuation. So, just there, our punctuation. So we need to fill in any missing full stops, any other bits of punctuation we might be missing, and then let's have a read through and put in some adventurous vocabulary. Once upon a time, in a beautiful house on a street, there lived a little boy whose name was Max. Full stop. Let's get rid of that and. Capital letter after our full stop. He loved to be naughty and create mischief. Full stop again. Capital letter for one day. One day he woke up and he got out of bed and he thought to himself, he thought it to himself, so let's add some speech marks right there. Needs an apostrophe. I'm going to put on my wolf suit and make mischief of one kind. And another, one kind. We need a pause there. So when we have a pause, we add a comma. And another comma. And another. So he did exactly that. That is already sounding so much better, class 2. Now let's add in our extra bits of punctuation and let's also add in some adventurous vocabulary. Once upon a time in a beautiful house on a cozy little street, a lovely small street, let's say on a cold, dark street. There lived a little boy whose name was Max. Little boy, little boy. Maybe we can change that adjective because little is a bit unadventurous. There lived a tiny boy whose name was Max. He loved to be naughty and to create mischief. One day he woke up and got out of his bed, and he thought to himself, I'm going to put on my wolf suit. I'm going to put on my, maybe let's add some adjectives there as well. Maybe make it into a noun phrase. Skin tight, white, wolf suit, and make mischief of one kind and another and another. See, already we've up-leveled that piece of writing to make it from what was an okay piece of writing to what is a quite good piece of writing just by editing those few mistakes.